In the year 2147, Earth was no longer just a small blue dot in the vastness of space. For decades, humanity had been watching and listening to the stars. Hidden behind layers of secrecy, Earth scientists used powerful telescopes and intercepted alien signals to learn about civilizations far beyond their own. But they never spoke back. They stayed quiet, afraid of what might happen if more powerful beings discovered them. It wasn't fear that stopped them. It was survival. Daniel Carter, a young astrophysicist working at the Global Space Observatory in Colorado, spent most of his days poring over data collected from deep space. He was known for his sharp mind and unrelenting curiosity. One late night, as he analyzed a series of strange radio signals, something unusual caught his attention. The patterns were repetitive, almost like a code, but unlike anything Earth's computers had flagged before. At first, he thought it might be random noise, but the deeper he dug, the clearer it became. These signals weren't natural. Someone, or something, was communicating. Daniel called Dr. Laura Bennett, his colleague and closest friend at the observatory. She arrived within minutes, her face lighting up with excitement when she saw the data on Daniel's screen. Together, they worked through the night, cross-referencing the signals with other intercepted transmissions. What they uncovered chilled them to the bone. The messages weren't friendly greetings or scientific exchanges. They were plans, detailed strategies outlining an invasion. Multiple alien factions were discussing how to divide Earth's resources among themselves. "This is bad," Laura whispered, her voice trembling. "If we're right, they're not just interested in mining our planet. They're planning to wipe us out." Daniel nodded, his heart pounding. "We can't ignore this. We have to tell someone." The next morning, they presented their findings to the United Earth Council, UAC, the governing body responsible for Earth's defense. The council chamber buzzed with tension as Daniel and Laura explained their discovery. Some members listened intently, while others dismissed their claims as alarmist paranoia. After all, humanity had managed to stay hidden for so long. Why would anyone come looking now? But General William Hayes, a grizzled veteran who led Earth's military forces, didn't dismiss them. His eyes narrowed as he studied the evidence. "If what you're saying is true," he said slowly, "then we've been living on borrowed time. Staying silent won't save us anymore." As the meeting dragged on, arguments erupted between council members. Some insisted on maintaining Earth's invisibility, hoping the threat would pass. Others argued that humanity needed to prepare for war. Daniel and Laura sat quietly, overwhelmed by the weight of their discovery. They had opened Pandora's box, and there was no closing it now. Later that evening, Daniel stood alone on the observatory balcony, staring up at the night sky. The stars twinkled innocently, hiding the dangers lurking beyond. Laura joined him after a while, her arms crossed against the cold. "Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked softly. "I don't know," Daniel admitted. "But I do know one thing. If we don't act, billions of lives are at stake. We can't let fear keep us frozen forever." Laura sighed, her breath visible in the chilly air. "Then I guess we'll find out soon enough." Unbeknownst to them, the decision had already been made. Somewhere in the UEC headquarters, orders were being drafted. Humanity's era of silence was coming to an end, and the galaxy would soon learn that Earth was not as defenseless as it seemed. General William Hayes didn't waste any time. After the heated council meeting, he returned to his office and began drafting a bold plan. For years, Earth had hidden in the shadows of the galaxy, too afraid to reveal itself. But now, with the evidence Daniel and Laura had uncovered, staying silent felt like signing humanity's death warrant. Hayes knew that Earth couldn't fight an alien invasion alone. It needed allies. And to find those allies, it would have to step out of the darkness. The next morning, Hayes called together a small team of trusted advisors, including Daniel Carter and Dr. Laura Bennett. He explained his idea, Project Sentinel. It was a classified program designed to broadcast Earth's presence to nearby star systems. The goal wasn't just to announce humanity's existence, but to show that Earth was no longer helpless. Using advanced technology developed over decades, they would send a message declaring their peaceful intentions while showcasing their military capabilities. If done right, it might even deter some of the more aggressive alien factions from attacking. Daniel and Laura exchanged nervous glances. They understood the risks. Revealing Earth's location could invite immediate retaliation, but they also knew that doing nothing was far more dangerous. "If we don't try," Daniel said finally, "we're giving up before the fight even begins." Hayes nodded. "Exactly. We've been hiding long enough. It's time to let the galaxy know we're here, and that we won't go down without a fight." To help craft the message, Hayes brought in Samantha Lewis, a brilliant communications specialist known for her ability to simplify complex ideas. Samantha had spent years designing interstellar messages, though none as critical as this one. She worked closely with Daniel and Laura, incorporating data about Earth's achievements, its diverse cultures, and its growing arsenal of advanced weapons. Every detail was carefully chosen to make humanity appear both strong and approachable. As the days passed, tensions on Earth grew. News of the impending broadcast leaked to the public, sparking widespread debate. Some people supported Hayes' decision, believing it was better to face the unknown than to cower in fear. Others accused him of recklessness, claiming that exposing Earth's location would only hasten its destruction. Protests erupted in major cities, with crowds chanting slogans like "Stay hidden" and "Protect our planet." Despite the backlash, Hayes remained resolute. He ordered the construction of a massive transmission array in the Nevada desert, capable of sending signals across light years of space. Engineers worked around the clock, assembling the towering structure under tight security. Meanwhile, Samantha fine-tuned the message, adding layers of encryption to ensure it couldn't be easily intercepted or altered by hostile forces. Finally, the day arrived. The entire world watched as Hayes stood before cameras, flanked by Daniel, Laura, and Samantha. His voice was calm but firm as he addressed the planet. "Today, we take a stand," he said. "For too long, we've feared what lies beyond our skies. But fear will not protect us. Humanity is ready to join the stars, not as victims, but as equals." With that, he gave the signal. The transmission array hummed to life, sending Earth's message hurtling into the cosmos. No one knew how the galaxy would respond. Would they greet humanity with open arms? Or would they see Earth as nothing more than prey? In the hours that followed, the world held its breath. Observatories monitored every frequency, searching for a reply. Scientists huddled over consoles, analyzing incoming data. And Daniel, standing beside Laura in the control room, couldn't shake the feeling that they had just rolled the dice on humanity's future. "It's done," Laura murmured, breaking the silence. "Now we wait." Daniel nodded, his eyes fixed on the monitors. "Yeah, now we wait." But deep down, he wondered if they had made the right choice, or if they had just sealed Earth's fate. The waiting was the hardest part. Days turned into weeks, and Earth's skies remained eerily quiet. The transmission had been sent, but there was no sign of a response. People around the world began to wonder if their message had even reached anyone, or if it had simply vanished into the vast emptiness of space. Daniel Carter spent most of his time in the observatory, scanning every frequency for any hint of a reply. Laura Bennett stayed by his side, her calm demeanor masking the same unease that gnawed at everyone. Then, one morning, everything changed. An unexpected signal arrived, strong and clear. It wasn't just one message. It was dozens, coming from different parts of the galaxy. Some were friendly, filled with curiosity about Earth and its people. Others were cold and calculating, demanding answers or issuing threats. One stood out above all the rest. A chilling ultimatum from the Vorthak Dominion, a powerful empire known for its brutal conquests. "Surrender your resources," the message read, "or face annihilation." The news spread like wildfire. Governments scrambled to respond, and panic rippled through cities. General William Hayes called an emergency meeting of the United Earth Council. This time, there was no debate. Everyone agreed that Earth needed to prepare for the worst. But Hayes knew they couldn't do it alone. They needed help, and fast. Amid the chaos, another message arrived, this one far more hopeful. A mysterious race called the Lumina offered assistance, claiming to oppose the Vorthak's tyranny. Their ambassador, Kale, promised to send representatives to Earth to discuss an alliance. Though some council members were skeptical, Hayes saw an opportunity. "We don't have a choice," he said firmly. "If the Lumina can help us, we'd be fools not to accept." A few days later, Kale arrived on Earth. He looked humanoid, with pale skin and glowing blue eyes that seemed to pierce through anyone who met his gaze. His presence was both comforting and unsettling. Accompanied by a small team of scientists and engineers, Kale explained that the Lumina had been monitoring Earth for years, impressed by humanity's rapid technological progress. Now, faced with the threat of the Vorthak, they were willing to share their knowledge and resources to help Earth defend itself. Daniel and Laura were invited to meet Kale, along with Samantha Lewis, whose expertise in communications made her invaluable. As they spoke, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that Kale wasn't telling them everything. Still, the Lumina's offer was too important to ignore. Over the next several days, teams of human and alien engineers worked side by side, upgrading Earth's outdated ships and weapons with advanced technology provided by the Lumina. Plasma cannons replaced old missile systems, and energy shields were installed to protect against enemy fire. Benjamin Cole, a young engineer leading the retrofitting efforts, marveled at the speed of the upgrades. "This stuff is incredible," he told Daniel during a break. "With this, we might actually stand a chance." But not everyone trusted the Lumina. Senator Robert Dawson, a vocal critic of Hayes' decisions, argued that accepting their help could make Earth a target in even larger conflicts. "We're playing with forces we don't understand," he warned during a heated council session. "What happens when the Lumina decide we're more trouble than we're worth?" Hayes dismissed Dawson's concerns, focusing instead on preparing for war. He ordered increased patrols around Earth's orbit and began training pilots for combat scenarios. Jessica Munro, one of Earth's top fighter pilots, took charge of the training program, pushing her team harder than ever before. "If the Vorthak come," she told them, "we won't get a second chance." As preparations continued, Daniel found himself staring at the stars each night, wondering what lay ahead. Earth had taken its first step into the galactic stage, but at what cost? The Lumina's help was a lifeline, but it also came with strings attached. And the Vorthak's threat loomed larger with each passing day. Laura joined him on the observatory balcony one evening, her arms crossed against the cool breeze. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked quietly. Daniel hesitated before answering. "I don't know," he admitted, "but we'll find out soon enough." And somewhere in the distance, beyond the reach of Earth's telescopes, the Vorthak fleet was already on the move. The days that followed Cal's arrival were a whirlwind of activity. Earth's leaders worked tirelessly to strengthen their defenses, while the Lumina ambassador shared more insights about the galaxy's political landscape. According to Kale, the Vorthak Dominion was one of the most feared empires in the known universe. Ruthless and expansionist, they thrived on conquering weaker species and stripping their planets of resources. What made them even more dangerous was their obsession with genetic experimentation. They often harvested DNA from conquered races to enhance their own biology. Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett listened intently as Kale explained this during a private meeting. The thought of the Vorthak using humanity's genetic material sent chills down their spines. "This isn't just about our planet," Daniel said, his voice tight with anger. "They'll destroy us, piece by piece, until there's nothing left." Kale nodded solemnly. "That is why the Lumina have chosen to stand with you. But make no mistake, the Vorthak are not easily defeated. Their fleet is vast, and their weapons are unmatched." Despite the grim warning, Cal's presence brought a sense of hope. Under his guidance, Earth's military forces began transforming. Pilots like Jessica Monroe trained relentlessly, learning new tactics designed for space combat. Benjamin Cole and his team of engineers worked around the clock, retrofitting ships with advanced alien technology. Even Samantha Lewis played a crucial role, helping decode intercepted Vorthek transmissions and refining Earth's communication systems. But trust wasn't universal. Senator Robert Dawson continued to voice his concerns, arguing that relying on the Lumina could lead to disaster. What happens when they turn on us? He demanded during a council session. We're putting all our eggs in their basket, and we don't even know if they're telling the truth. Hayes shot back, his tone firm. Right now, they're the only allies we've got. If we don't accept their help, we're sitting ducks. Tensions between Hayes and Dawson reached a boiling point, but there was no time for infighting. Reports came in that the Vorthek fleet was moving closer to Earth's solar system. Observatories detected massive energy signatures, far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. It was clear the invasion was imminent. As fear gripped the planet, Cale revealed another unsettling detail. The Lumina hadn't come to Earth purely out of altruism. They saw humanity as potential pawns in their ongoing war against the Vorthek. When Daniel confronted him about this, Cale didn't deny it. War changes everyone, he said simply. Even those who fight for justice must sometimes use others to achieve their goals. Though Daniel wanted to be angry, he couldn't entirely blame Cale. Survival often required difficult choices, and Earth had already been thrust into a galactic conflict. Still, the revelation planted seeds of doubt in his mind, and in the minds of others. In the midst of these challenges, Earth received its first direct contact from a non-hostile alien species. A race called the Xyneris sent a message praising humanity's courage and offering limited support. Though their aid wouldn't match the Lumina's, it was a reminder that not all extraterrestrial beings were enemies. Meanwhile, Jessica Monroe led her squadron in simulated battles, preparing for the real fight ahead. She pushed herself harder than anyone, knowing that failure meant the end of everything she loved. One evening after a grueling training session, she found Daniel staring at the stars from the observation deck. "You think we can win?" she asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Daniel turned to her, forcing a small smile. "I have to believe we can. Otherwise, what's the point?" Jessica nodded slowly, her gaze drifting back to the sky. "Then let's hope we're ready." Unbeknownst to them, the Vorthek fleet was closer than anyone realized. In just a few short weeks, Earth would face its greatest test. The question wasn't whether humanity could survive. It was whether it could rise to become something greater than itself. The Vorthek fleet arrived sooner than anyone expected. One moment, Earth's orbital defense systems were silent, scanning the void for signs of trouble. The next, alarms blared across command centers as hundreds of massive alien ships emerged from a shimmering wormhole near Jupiter. Their vessels were dark and jagged, like shards of obsidian floating in space, exuding an aura of menace that sent shivers down even the most seasoned soldiers. General William Hayes wasted no time. He ordered Earth's newly upgraded fleet to mobilize immediately. Pilots scrambled into their ships, engines roaring to life as they formed defensive lines around the planet. Jessica Monroe led her squadron with precision, her voice steady over the comms as she directed her team into position. "Stay sharp," she said. "We don't know what they'll do yet." Back at the observatory, Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett worked frantically to analyze the Vorthek ship's movements. Using data gathered by Earth's satellites, they noticed something strange. The enemy wasn't attacking right away. Instead, the fleet seemed to be spreading out, forming a loose blockade around Earth's solar system. It was as if they were waiting for reinforcements, or perhaps for Earth to make the first move. "They're testing us," Daniel muttered, his eyes glued to the monitors, "seeing how we react." Laura nodded grimly. "And if we act too aggressively, it could give them an excuse to strike." Before they could share their findings with General Hayes, disaster struck. Without warning, the Vorthak launched a barrage of missiles at Earth's outer defense platforms. The explosions lit up the darkness of space, sending chunks of debris spiraling toward the planet below. Panic erupted in control rooms as operators scrambled to respond. Humanity's carefully laid plans were falling apart within minutes. But amidst the chaos, Daniel made a critical discovery. By analyzing the frequency patterns of the Vorthak's communications, he realized their signals weren't encrypted. They were predictable. With Laura's help, he managed to decode snippets of their battle orders. Suddenly, Earth had a tactical advantage. They could anticipate the enemy's moves. Daniel rushed to share this breakthrough with Hayes, who quickly relayed the information to Jessica and her squadron. Armed with the decoded intel, Jessica devised a daring counterattack. She split her forces into two groups, luring part of the Vorthak fleet into a trap while the rest of Earth's ships focused on disabling one of their larger command vessels. The plan worked, but not without cost. During the engagement, several pilots lost their lives, including a close friend of Jessica's named Ryan. His ship exploded in a burst of light, leaving behind only silence. Jessica clenched her teeth, forcing herself to stay focused. There would be time to grieve later, if they survived. Meanwhile, Benjamin Cole monitored the battle from the surface, coordinating repairs for damaged ships returning to Earth. His hands moved swiftly as he patched up hull breaches and recalibrated weapon systems. Despite the destruction unfolding above, he couldn't help but feel a flicker of pride. Humanity was holding its own against an enemy far more advanced. As the fight raged on, Kale and the Lumina finally joined the fray. Their sleek silver ships descended from orbit, unleashing devastating beams of energy that tore through the Vorthak ranks. The tide began to turn, but the victory came at a heavy price. One of the Lumina's largest cruisers sacrificed itself to protect Earth's flagship, the Aegis Asterisk, ensuring its survival. By the time the Vorthak retreated, the battlefield was littered with wreckage. Exhausted but alive, Jessica returned to Earth, her heart heavy with the weight of loss. Daniel and Laura watched the aftermath unfold on their screens, knowing the war was far from over. The Vorthak had been pushed back, but they would return. And next time, humanity might not be so lucky. For now, though, Earth had proven one thing. It wouldn't go down without a fight. The victory against the Vorthak fleet was short-lived. While Earth celebrated its narrow escape, cracks began to form within the alliance with the Lumina. Senator Robert Dawson, who had always distrusted Cal's intentions, called for an emergency session of the United Earth Council. "We've been blind," he argued, his voice sharp with accusation. "The Lumina didn't come here to help us. They're using us as pawns in their war." Hayes tried to calm the room, but Dawson wasn't finished. He presented evidence uncovered by a covert operation. The Lumina had been secretly monitoring human experiments on alien technology. They hadn't shared this information openly, raising suspicions about their true motives. "How can we trust them?" Dawson demanded. "They're no better than the Vorthak." Kale, summoned to address the council, didn't deny the allegations. Instead, he admitted that the Lumina had been observing Earth's progress, but only to ensure humanity wouldn't misuse the advanced tools they'd provided. "Your species is young and inexperienced," Kale said calmly. "We acted to protect both you and ourselves." His explanation did little to ease tensions. Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett found themselves caught in the middle. They had worked closely with Kale and trusted him, but now doubts crept into their minds. Was he truly helping Earth, or just manipulating it? The pair spent hours debating in private, torn between gratitude for the Lumina's aid and unease over their secrets. Meanwhile, Benjamin Cole faced challenges of his own. The battle against the Vorthak had left many ships badly damaged, and resources were running low. Engineers worked tirelessly to repair what they could, but without further support from the Lumina, Earth's fleet wouldn't be ready for another attack. Benjamin confided in Jessica Monroe during a late-night meeting. "If the Lumina pull out now," he said, rubbing his tired eyes, "we're done for." Jessica nodded grimly. She had seen firsthand how close they'd come to losing everything. Despite her exhaustion, she pushed herself harder, training new pilots and refining strategies. Her determination inspired others. But even she couldn't ignore the growing divide between Earth and its supposed allies. Amid the turmoil, Samantha Lewis made a startling discovery. While analyzing intercepted signals, she noticed patterns suggesting the Lumina weren't entirely truthful about the Vorthak's motives. Hidden beneath layers of coded messages was evidence that the Vorthak invasion might not have been solely about resources. They also sought something unique to humanity, something tied to human DNA. Samantha rushed to share her findings with Daniel and Laura. Together, they pieced together the truth. The Vorthak believed humanity possessed genetic traits that could enhance their own biology. Earth wasn't just a target for conquest, it was a treasure trove of biological potential. This revelation shocked everyone. It explained why the Vorthak had spared Earth after their initial attack. They planned to return and harvest what they needed. Daniel and Laura brought the information to General Hayes, who immediately informed Cale. To his credit, Cale seemed genuinely surprised and troubled. "This changes everything," he admitted. "If the Vorthak succeed, it won't just mean the end of your species, it will give them power beyond imagination." For once, Earth and the Lumina had a common goal. Trust remained fragile, but survival forced them to work together. Hayes ordered increased patrols around Earth's orbit, while Cale promised additional reinforcements from the Lumina fleet. Yet, despite their efforts, the looming threat of betrayal hung heavy in the air. As days passed, Jessica often found herself staring at the stars, wondering what lay ahead. Humanity had proven it could fight back, but at what cost? The alliance with the Lumina was shaky at best, and the Vorthak would surely return stronger next time. "We've got one shot at this," she muttered under her breath. "Let's hope it's enough." In the shadows of space, the Vorthak plotted their next move, unaware that humanity and its uneasy allies were preparing for a fight unlike any before. The second wave of the Vorthak fleet arrived without warning. This time, they came with overwhelming force, twice as many ships as before, each bristling with weapons far deadlier than anything Earth had faced. The skies above the planet lit up with streaks of plasma fire as humanity's defenses clashed against the invaders. Despite the upgrades provided by the Lumina, Earth's forces were outnumbered and outgunned. Jessica Monroe led her squadron into the heart of the battle, weaving between enemy ships with precision. Her voice crackled over the comms as she shouted orders to her team. "Focus on their engines. Take them down one at a time." The pilots responded with grim determination, their ships darting through explosions and debris. But for every Vorthak vessel they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. On the ground, Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett worked feverishly to support the fight. Using the decoded communication patterns from the first battle, they intercepted new messages from the Vorthak fleet. The data revealed that the enemy was targeting specific locations on Earth, research facilities where genetic experiments had been conducted. It confirmed Samantha Lewis's earlier discovery. The Vorthak weren't just after resources, they wanted humanity's DNA. "We need to warn those labs," Laura said urgently, her fingers flying across the keyboard. Daniel nodded and relayed the information to General Hayes. Within minutes, evacuation orders were issued, and security teams scrambled to protect the facilities. In orbit, Benjamin Cole monitored the battle from the command center aboard the Aegis Asterisk. His modified flagship had become Earth's last line of defense, equipped with experimental weapons designed to pierce even the toughest Vorthak shields. As the enemy closed in, Benjamin gave the order to activate the ship's main cannon, a massive plasma emitter capable of obliterating entire fleets. The weapon fired, sending a blinding beam of energy slicing through space. Dozens of Vorthak ships exploded in an instant, forcing the rest to retreat temporarily. But the victory came at a cost. The strain of firing the cannon overloaded the Aegis Asterisk systems, leaving it vulnerable. Jessica saw the danger immediately and ordered her squadron to form a protective barrier around the crippled ship. "Stay close," she yelled. "We're not losing this one." As the battle raged, Kale and the Lumina launched a desperate counterattack. Their sleek cruisers dove into the fray, unleashing torrents of energy that tore through the Vorthak ranks. For a moment, it seemed like the tide was turning, but then disaster struck. A stray missile from a dying Vorthak ship struck a critical relay station near Earth's moon. The station, which coordinated communications between Earth's forces and the Lumina, began to collapse. Samantha Lewis was inside the station at the time, working to stabilize its systems. When alarms blared, she knew there was no time to escape. Without hesitation, she activated the station's self-destruct sequence, ensuring the Vorthak couldn't capture its technology. As the countdown reached 0, Samantha sent one final message to Daniel. "Tell them, we did our best." The explosion rocked the battlefield, sending shockwaves through both fleets. On Earth, Daniel froze as he heard Samantha's last words. Tears welled in his eyes, but there was no time to grieve. The fight wasn't over yet. With the relay station gone, coordination between Earth and the Lumina became chaotic. But the loss of Samantha ignited a fire in everyone who heard her story. Pilots fought harder. Engineers repaired faster. Even Kale seemed moved, vowing to honor her sacrifice by pushing forward. Slowly but surely, the combined forces of Earth and the Lumina gained the upper hand. Benjamin's repairs to the Aegis allowed it to rejoin the fight, delivering another devastating blow to the Vorthak fleet. Jessica's squadron took advantage of the chaos, targeting the enemy's command ship. With relentless precision, they crippled its engines and disabled its weapons. Finally, the Vorthak retreated once more, their battered fleet limping back toward the wormhole. Cheers erupted across Earth's control centers, but the celebration was muted. Too many lives had been lost, and the scars of battle would linger for years to come. As the dust settled, Daniel stood silently in the observatory, staring at the stars. He thought of Samantha, and of all the others who had given everything to protect their home. Humanity had survived, but the war was far from over. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Vorthak were regrouping, preparing for their next assault. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth lay battered but unbroken. The cost of survival weighed heavily on everyone. Streets were lined with memorials for those who had fallen, and the faces of survivors bore the exhaustion of endless nights spent preparing for war. Yet, amidst the sorrow, there was a flicker of hope, a fragile sense that humanity could endure. General William Hayes stood before the United Earth Council, his voice steady despite the fatigue etched into his face. "We've shown them we can fight," he said. "But this isn't just about strength. It's about unity, with each other and with our allies." He glanced toward Kull, who sat quietly in the chamber. The Luma ambassador had proven himself in battle, but trust remained a delicate thread between the two species. Kale spoke next, his glowing blue eyes scanning the room. "The Vorthak will return," he warned. "They do not accept defeat lightly. But today, you have earned their respect, and perhaps their fear." Hayes nodded grimly. "Then we prepare. We rebuild. And when they come back, we'll be ready." Reconstruction efforts began immediately. Benjamin Cole led teams of engineers as they worked to repair damaged ships and fortify Earth's orbital defenses. Every available resource was poured into strengthening the fleet, ensuring humanity wouldn't be caught off guard again. Jessica Monroe trained new pilots tirelessly, instilling in them the same determination that had carried her through the darkest moments of the war. She pushed herself harder than ever, knowing the stakes would only grow higher. Meanwhile, Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett continued analyzing data from the battles. They discovered something surprising. During the second wave, the Vorthak had altered their tactics, focusing less on brute force and more on targeting key locations. It suggested they were learning, adapting to humanity's strategies. This realization chilled Daniel. If they keep evolving like this, he said to Laura, we'll need more than just better weapons. We'll need smarter ones. Laura agreed. Together, they proposed a bold idea: developing AI systems capable of predicting the vortex moves in real time. With support from both Earth's scientists and the Lumina, they set to work building prototypes. Their goal was clear: to stay one step ahead of the enemy. As weeks passed, tensions between Earth and the Lumina eased slightly. Kale revealed that the Lumina had initially seen humanity as expendable pawns in their larger conflict with the Vorthek. But after witnessing Earth's courage and resilience, their perspective had shifted. You are not tools to us now, Kale admitted during a private meeting with Hayes. You are partners. Hayes accepted the olive branch cautiously, knowing full well that alliances could crumble under pressure. Still, the gesture helped solidify cooperation between the two races. Engineers from both sides collaborated openly, sharing knowledge and technology in ways they hadn't before. Amid these efforts, Samantha Lewis's sacrifice became a rallying cry for humanity. Her final message, "Tell them, we did our best," was engraved on plaques placed aboard every ship in Earth's fleet. It served as a reminder of what they were fighting for: not just survival, but the chance to build a future worth living in. One evening, Daniel joined Jessica on the observation deck of the Aegis Asterisk. The ship was docked temporarily while repairs were completed, its hull scared but intact. Together, they gazed at the stars, silent for a long moment. "We're holding our own," Jessica said finally. "But I don't know if it's enough." Daniel sighed. "It has to be. There's no other choice." Jessica looked at him, her expression resolute. "Then we'll make it enough." Unbeknownst to them, far beyond Earth's reach, the Vorthak plotted their next move. Defeat had stung them deeply, fueling their desire for revenge. They study humanity closely now, determined to uncover its weaknesses. But even as they prepared for another assault, whispers spread among the galactic powers of a small blue planet that refused to yield. Humanity had taken its first steps onto the interstellar stage, and though the road ahead was fraught with danger, it had already begun to carve out its place among the stars. The Vorthek's retreat marked the beginning of a fragile peace, but it was clear that the galaxy had taken notice of Earth. News of humanity's defiance spread quickly among alien civilizations. Some viewed Earth as reckless for standing against such a powerful empire, while others admired its bravery. The Lumina, now more committed than ever to their alliance with humanity, offered Earth a seat at the Galactic Senate, a council where interstellar disputes were resolved diplomatically. General Hayes and Kale traveled together to the Senate's headquarters on a distant planet called Xyneris. For Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett, who accompanied them as advisors, the journey was surreal. They had spent years studying alien life from afar, and now they were walking among beings from across the stars. The Senate chamber was vast, filled with representatives from dozens of species, each unique in appearance and culture. Humanity's presence drew both curiosity and skepticism. When Hayes stepped forward to address the assembly, his voice carried a quiet strength. "We are new to this stage," he began, "but we come in peace. We seek not conquest, but cooperation. However, we will not stand idly by while aggressors threaten innocent lives." His words resonated with many in the chamber, earning nods of approval from some delegates and wary glances from others. Kale followed, speaking on behalf of the Lumina. He praised humanity's courage and emphasized the importance of unity against shared threats like the Vorthek. "Earth has proven itself capable of great resilience," he said. "Together, we can build a future free from tyranny." Not everyone was convinced. A representative from the Xyneris expressed concern about involving Earth in galactic politics so soon after its emergence. "Your species is young," she said gently. "Are you ready for the responsibilities that come with joining us?" Hayes met her gaze without flinching. "We may be young, but we've already learned the value of standing up for what's right. If staying silent means letting tyrants win, then we choose to speak." The debate stretched late into the night, but eventually, a decision was reached. Earth would be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Senate, allowing it to participate in discussions while proving its ability to contribute meaningfully. It was a small victory, but one that signaled a turning point. Humanity was no longer an isolated world hiding in fear. It was part of something greater. Back on Earth, news of the Senate's decision sparked celebration. Cities lit up with fireworks, and people gathered in public squares to cheer. Yet, beneath the joy lay lingering concerns. Senator Robert Dawson still questioned the wisdom of trusting the Lumina, pointing out that their initial secrecy could not be forgotten. They saved us once, he argued, but alliances shift. We must remain vigilant. Despite these doubts, work continued to strengthen Earth's position in the galaxy. Jessica Monroe led efforts to train pilots in advanced combat tactics, ensuring humanity would never again be caught unprepared. Benjamin Cole worked alongside Lumina engineers to design new ships, incorporating lessons learned from the battles with the Vorthak. Even Daniel and Laura stayed busy, refining AI systems that could predict enemy movements and protect Earth's borders. As weeks turned into months, reports trickled in that the Vorthak were regrouping. Their leaders were furious over their losses and vowed to crush Earth once and for all. But for now, they kept their distance, likely planning their next move carefully. Humanity used this time wisely, fortifying its defenses and building relationships with other peaceful races. One evening, Daniel stood outside the observatory, staring at the stars. Laura joined him, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked softly. Daniel took a sip, his eyes scanning the horizon. "I don't know, but I do know one thing. We're stronger than we were before. Stronger than anyone thought we could be." Laura smiled faintly. "Then maybe that's enough." Far away, beyond the edge of known space, the Vorthak plotted their revenge. But Earth was no longer the same frightened planet it had been. It had faced the darkness and emerged with hope and allies on its side. Whatever came next, humanity would meet it together. Months passed, and Earth settled into its new role among the stars. The scars of war were still visible: burned-out cities, abandoned research facilities, and memorials for those who had fallen. But there was a sense of renewal in the air. Humanity had proven it could stand tall alongside older, more advanced civilizations. And though the threat of the Vorthak loomed large, people chose to focus on rebuilding and dreaming of a brighter future. Daniel Carter and Laura Bennett became symbols of hope, traveling across the galaxy as ambassadors for Earth. They'd visited alien worlds, sharing stories of humanity's resilience and learning about other cultures in return. Their journey wasn't always easy. Some species remained wary of Earth's intentions, but Daniel and Laura approached every encounter with patience and humility, knowing that trust took time to build. Jessica Monroe also found herself stepping into a new role. No longer just a pilot, she became an instructor at the newly established Galactic Defense Academy. Young recruits from both Earth and allied planets trained under her guidance, eager to learn how to protect their shared home. Her lessons went beyond tactics and strategy. She taught them about courage, sacrifice, and the importance of unity. "We're stronger together," she often reminded her students. Never forget that. Benjamin Cole continued his work designing cutting-edge technology, collaborating closely with Lumina engineers. His innovations didn't just strengthen Earth's fleet, they inspired others to push the boundaries of what was possible. Slowly but surely, humanity earned respect not only for its determination, but also for its ingenuity. General William Hayes delivered a historic speech at the Galactic Senate, marking 1 year since Earth's emergence onto the interstellar stage. Standing before representatives from dozens of species, he spoke with quiet confidence. "We held back, but no more," he declared. "Humanity stands ready to defend itself and forge alliances based on mutual respect. Together, we can create a galaxy where peace is more than just a dream. It's a reality." His words echoed through the chamber, drawing applause from many delegates. Even the Xyneris representative, who had once doubted Earth's readiness, nodded in approval. It was clear. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. Kale, the Lumina ambassador, watched the proceedings with pride. He approached Hayes after the session ended, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You've come far," Kale said. "Farther than anyone expected." Hayes smiled faintly. "We couldn't have done it without you, or without everyone else who believed in us." Though the Vorthek remained a looming threat, Earth faced the future with cautious optimism. Its leaders knew that peace was fragile, requiring constant effort to maintain. But they also knew that humanity had something few others did, an unshakable will to survive and thrive. As the sun set over Earth's horizon, Daniel stood on a hill overlooking the rebuilt city below. Laura joined him, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Do you think we'll ever stop looking up at the stars and wondering what's out there?" she asked. Daniel chuckled softly. "Probably not. That's part of who we are." Laura smiled, gazing upward. "And maybe that's why we belong here, with all of them." In the vastness of space, Earth shone brightly, a beacon of resilience and hope. Humanity had taken its first steps into the unknown, and though challenges lay ahead, it had already begun to carve out its destiny. Whatever came next, Earth would face it not as victims or pawns, but as equals among the stars.